Hey, welcome to ToolSpecs. So you're shopping around for a used vehicle and you're wondering what to inspect and look for when you're looking around to see if it's been in an accident or if there's engine problem or anything like this, or what kind of repair cost you're going to encounter with it. Well, let's take a quick look and I'll show you exactly what you have to look for quickly to see what you can expect. So the first thing you're going to look at is all the trim work and if the gap are even everywhere on each side of the hood or anything like this. And this is going to tell you like something like this bumper here. So see, the gap is bigger here and it's pretty much touching each other here. So because of that, I know that this bumper here, somebody either rubbed the curb or it got into a little fender bender and the bracket are probably bent in there. So this is something to look at here. This is not too concerning for this one because there's not too much damage with it. So you look at all your trim work, your doors, everything. Now we're going to do a couple lap around this car here so I can show you exactly what you have to look at, but keeping it simple so that you can look at it with me here and not get too confused, because there's lots to look at in a small amount of time. So every trim is good, but again, on the other side, the front bumper is touching here. Now, next thing we're going to look at is going to be around the window here. And around the window, that's going to tell you if the black here is marked, the glue underneath, it's going to tell you if the window has been replaced before, or if the window is cracked right now, then this is going to be a few $100s for you to repair, because it won't pass safety. Now you're going to look at your mirror to make sure everything is nice and tight. Any trimming, nice and tight, everything like this. And after that, what we're going to look at is your brake. You want to make sure that there's no deep groove into it. Brake lining is thick enough. I know I need to do brakes on this one here. Another thing you're going to look at when you're down here is the top of your tire. So the top of your tire, you pass your end one way, pass your end the other way. If you feel that the treads are kind of in an angle like this here or like that, that means that there's an alignment problem. Now if they're wearing too much on the center or on the outside, one or the other, that means that the tire got driven and low pressure or too high of a pressure. So this tire here, for example, it's scuffing on this inside tread here, and because of this, I know that the previous owner has been rubbing a curb here, and it's been they bumped that tire inwards a little bit, so there's a little bit of toe in here, and this is why my tread are like this on this tire. So this needs to get in alignment, or we're gonna start going through tire pretty quick. The next thing you're going to look at is the bottom of the door here, and the bottom of the door on the door itself. And I think this is the rocker panel, actually, sorry. So this, if it has holes through it, or the door have holes through it, that might not pass safety. So you're gonna open all of your doors. Oh, I need to unlock this. So you're gonna open all of your doors and look at all of the stuff at the bottom here for rust. Now surface rust is fine as long as there's no hole in it, you're okay. Now the next thing that we're going to look at is make sure that there's no check engine light or anything onto the dash. If there's no dash light, then it's perfect. And then So it means there's no engine problem that you might not be able to hear or anything like this. So next thing we're going to do is give it a little shake with the steering here, and what you're trying to feel is if there's any kind of like hard spot or knocking or any kind of movement like this when you're feeling a tire. That's going to give you a little idea to see if there's any tie rod end, ball joint, drag link, steering linkage that have a little bit of play or loose in there. Now this is not perfect. This is just for when you're doing a walk around before you buy the car, right? Of course, when you're going to jack it up and the mechanic is going to look at it, they might be able to find some other defect, but this is going to give you a good idea of what to expect and that the car is not totally breaking down on you. So next thing that you're going to want to do is just go to your setting here, make sure that the fan setting goes up and down. As a mechanic, for the safety, you only need to test defrost, so the AC not working or anything like this doesn't affect anything, and you're supposed to have different speed for your fan here. So what you can do is crank the heat, make sure that this is gonna warm up as you're doing your walk around. Another thing that's very important here, and this is your parking brake. So if you have the key and they let you drive it or anything like this, try to put the parking brake on, and then try to move the vehicle forward and then backwards without pressing the gas. Of course, if you're pressing the gas, you're going to overpower this parking brake. This parking brake is just to make you stay stable and the car doesn't roll on the road, but not with acceleration or the force of the motor. So you can have the feel for it too as you're pulling it. If it's not the pedal one by your foot, if you're pulling it, you can have the feel that it's actually working. Alright, so next we're going to go out of the vehicle and look at the exhaust pipe. So now we're walking at the back of the vehicle, and then you want to see the color of your exhaust pipe fumes. So blue smoke would mean that it's blue-gray smoke will mean it's burning oil. White smoke would mean that it's burning coolant. Black smoke would mean that it's over-fueling. And then, of course, clear smoke means that everything's okay. Now that you have the vehicle running, make sure you turn on the light. This is not that big of a deal, but all of the light should be working on the vehicle. Here you can turn the 4 ways if you want to see if the flasher are working. If some of the lights are not working, there's a good chance it's a bulb, but it can also be an electrical issue, so be careful with this. Now the next thing you want to do is start the vehicle, make sure that the engine sounds good. So now what you're listening for is metal on metal noise. That might be just a dust shield though, but metal on metal noise, little ticking noise, knocking noise. This noise here, well, first of all, you're hearing the fan for the fan motor. You're also hearing a little tick here, but this tick is normal, nothing to worry about. This is just the valve moving around, but there's actually no knocking here. Next thing you're going to want to do is look at the coolant. So a coolant, if you have a bad head gasket or anything like this, the coolant might have a little bit of oil on it, and this is a warning sign that maybe the head is cracked or something like this. So look at the coolant. When we shut off the engine, we're going to look at our oil. If our oil is not black or like, you know, the clear brown like normal engine oil is, and it have a little tint of white in it, it's going to be a little bit of coolant in it for fuel. Mostly coolant, and this is because there's water and oil. So if there's a lot of it, the oil is going to look like a coffee. It's going to look milky, so you don't want that. You're also going to want to look at how your pulley and your belt is turning and riding and everything. Now we would need a flashlight to see a little bit better here. And then those in the back, that's your tower for your shock. So make sure that's a folder vehicle. They'll rust at the top here, and then your shock or your spring can come out, and then it's gonna bounce around like crazy. Another thing that you're going to want to do on the other side here, this is checking your brake fluid. So brake fluid should not be black or dark in color. This one here, you can see that it's clear into this reservoir, so we're good. Now that we check those few things before we turn off the engine or go for a test drive, which your test drive you're going to look for if the steering is actually, if you let it go, if it rides pretty straight. Now of course it's not going to ride 100% straight because of the road. It might pull a little bit on each side, but as long as you don't have to hold the steering with the pressure at 90 degrees or something like that, like just a little bit of adjustment is normal. Now that we run the vehicle for a little bit, we're going to try to feel the front here. Yeah, the hair is warm now, so we're good for that. You can turn this fan off. So another thing that we have to do too, it's test the front windows. If they're power window, test them. Make sure that they go down and back up, no problem. Especially the front window. Passenger, like the back window, they're not as picky about that, but it's a safety concern if the front windows don't open. They need to be able to open. You will also need to make sure that the wipers are working, so just test your wiper really quick. It's not a big deal there. If you need a wiper blade, you know, like 20 bucks, you're good. But anyway, you're going to want to look for if there's any streak into the windshield or anything like this as you're making them pass. That means that you need new wipers. If it stays clean like this, then you're good. The horn is also important, so just a little quick knock on the horn. You don't have to hold it for too long. So now you can shut off your engine, and then you're gonna go look at the oil at the front. Make sure that your engine oil is okay. Make sure that the engine oil is okay. Make sure, inspect the belt. Make sure that it's not weather crack or a missing part or riding crooked in one of the pulley. You can also grab the belt if you can and then test, make sure that the idler pulley and the tensioner are working fine. Now the other thing that we're going to need to do too is you can put your hand on the corner of the vehicle here and push down lightly, and then all we're trying to do here is just make sure that it's not bouncing around, that the shocks are still good. Don't push too hard. You don't want to dent the vehicle, especially if you're not going to buy it. So you can do that with the back, to press on the back bumper, and then as long as it's bounced back and stays there, like, and don't keep bouncing, then you know you're good to go. The engine oil is a good color, perfect. Now all there's left to do is your test drive. So when you're going to go test drive that vehicle, make sure that the parking brake works. So again, pull the parking brake or push it, whatever, if it's a pedal. Make sure that the vehicle, if you put it in gear forward or gear backwards, it's going to hold itself without having to press the gas. Next thing, after you take the parking brake off, next thing you're going to want to do is move backwards slightly, press the brake, move forward slightly, press the brake. Make sure that the brakes are working before you go somewhere with that vehicle. You don't know about it. So you just move a couple of feet, you press the brake, make sure everything feels good. When you press the brake, before you even start the vehicle, pump the brake a couple of times. If the pedal gets hard, it's normal. Now hold that pedal down. If the pedal is actually sinking down slowly, you might have either a brake boost that is bad, or you have maybe a small leak. So look on the ground to make sure there's no leak underneath the vehicle when you do your walk around. Now after this, you're gonna start driving around the block. Now you're going to want to do a couple like good little brake application, make sure that it's stopped properly. If you have access to a parking lot nearby, I would go there, open the windows, and then drive in circle one way and then drive in circle another way. It could be a store parking lot, anything that doesn't have no other cars around and lots of space. Do a couple circle. Now listen for wheel bearing humming or a squeak or anything like this. So that's pretty much it for this video here about the walk around, a quick inspection before you buy. Now I didn't get into too much of the exact test for safety procedure that the mechanic have to do. I could get into that. If you want to know a little bit what after you buy the vehicle you bring it home and what to inspect and what to replace for before it goes for the safety, then you can watch the video that I made about changing the summer tire to winter tire or vice versa on one of my pickup truck. I show how to inspect underneath really quick there when you're changing tires. I'll put the link in the description. Hopefully this video help you. You know a little bit more what to look for, and you don't get scammed there by somebody trying to pass you a piece of junk. All right, that's gonna cost you a fortune. Okay, so anyway, subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next video.